Hi, I'm Dennis Steigerwald, President of the Housing Innovation Alliance, and I'm here today with Betsy Scott, our Executive Director of Programs and Engagement. How you doing, Betsy?
Good, how are you?
Yeah, I'm well, thanks. So Betsy and I are here to tell you about what's up next from a programming perspective. But first, for those who may not know us, I want to provide a little more background on our community. At the Alliance, we connect people, ideas, and capital to make change happen towards delivering better housing solutions. And together with our 170 member companies, we enable the market to deliver the homes we deserve at a price we can afford. To achieve this, we curate market engagement activities and lead actionable discussions. And based on the outcomes of these activities, we create decision-making tools and resources to be leveraged by our community and the industry. So with that, Betsy, can you share a little bit more about how we attack this from a programming perspective?
Sure, be happy to. So the topics that we may focus on from time to time will change, but really as an organization, one thing remains true. We are always focused on what the future of home delivery looks like from a production, building, and development perspective. So how do companies need to evolve? How do they need to look at their business models? What's changing in the customer experience? And how do they more effectively deliver homes as the industry continues to evolve? So that's always the big picture at the core of everything that we do.
Great, thanks for that overview. So now that we've kind of painted the landscape, let's talk about what's happening in the near future. At the highest level, for the rest of the year, we'll be predominantly engaging with our audience in our industry online, continuing to build on the success of our coffee talks, the podcasts, and the virtual conferences we've hosted. And I know I'm personally looking forward to gradually reintroducing in-person and live events, starting with our road trips, the first of which Betsy and I will lead in Austin later this year in October.
I'm looking forward to getting out there as well. I've got our PPE all ready.
All right, there we go. Always prepared. And we have an exciting series coming up focusing on healthy homes. And I think that's a great launching point for the rest of this conversation, Betsy. Let's talk a little bit about the Healthy Home series and your inspiration behind focusing on healthy homes and communities.
Sure. We have been talking to our builders. They've always been focused on home performance. Certainly over the last 15 or 20 years, energy efficiency has been key. And what we're hearing from builders and developers is that the value proposition and the return on investment isn't what it used to be. Homeowners, home buyers expect energy efficiency. It's not as much of a key differentiator as it used to be. So there was already a trend toward looking at healthy homes within the builders and developers. And over the past probably 16 months or so, and certainly over the past few months, it's been top of mind of consumers as well. But people don't really have the big vision of how to tackle it completely because it's not very common in the marketplace yet. So we wanted to look at delayering that topic and what the longer term opportunity is for health and housing. And we frankly believe that healthy homes will become the next energy efficiency in the industry.
So I really like this idea, and I know I've heard from others in our community that are getting 100% behind it. So can you tell us a little bit more about how we delayer the topic of healthy homes as a new energy efficiency?
Sure. We have to, if our big vision is it's the new energy efficiency, there are going to be a lot of ripple effects and codes and design and legislation. But before we even get to that point, we need to think, what can people do now? So what's happening in homes and what's happening in communities? So really, if you look at the home by itself, we're delayering that in terms of design, impacts, and products, as well as technologies and data. So how can the home itself be healthier and deliver more valuable to the people who are dwelling in it, no matter what kind of house it is. And then really the second area there is if you take it up another level, another notch, to the community level, there are some really interesting partnerships that are going on in the industry between pharmaceutical companies, healthcare facilities, municipalities who are trying to drive greater health within their communities and are looking to see how they can integrate that with housing and partner in the development of master plan communities. So there's a trend in that space as well. We're looking at what those partnerships look like, what the data opportunity looks like on that scale. And then with all of this, there's always an opportunity for things to be better. So we'll see what people are doing really well right now, what we believe the opportunities are in each of those spaces, but it would be remiss if we didn't look at the risks and the opportunities for innovation. So where are we falling short? Why isn't this taking hold as fast as we might think it would? What are opportunities for innovation in products and the way that we engage in our partners in pursuing healthy homes? So that's really how we're going to delayer it, with the ultimate end in mind that we'll get to that energy efficiency. Healthy homes is the new energy efficiency. And we're going to delayer that story over the next couple of months.
So talk to me a little bit about the next few months. It sounds like a lot to unpack, and I think it's incredibly exciting, but what are the types of market engagement activities you're going to leverage with our community to tell this story?
Sure. Over the next couple of months, we've got what we call our coffee talks, which is kind of take a webinar, put an expert panel on it, and make it a bit more engaging. No slides, pure conversation and ideas from people who are already doing things in the field. And then they'll present some of their ideas, and then we have a lot of really robust conversation that goes on with the attendees. And then we'll be taking really kind of what we learned from those pieces and digging more deeply in the way that we might at a live event, sitting around a round table and having a smaller conversation where we can ask a question, and it's not just of the experts who are visiting and presenting on our behalf as a panel, it's of everyone who's sitting there, because really the ideas explode. The more people, the more smart people that you add to the mix, the ideas just continue to grow. So we're looking at expanding and kind of rolling out each of the topics that way leading up to that November event. So those are things that people can get engaged in personally. The coffee talks are for everyone. We're holding the think tank discussions for our member community only as kind of a value add, because there's a big networking component to getting to know the folks who you're sitting with, if you will. So there's those opportunities, and then just so we can get as many voices as possible, we're also doing podcasts at the same time. So you'd have the opportunity to listen to someone we've interviewed that might build on some of the ideas that you hear through a coffee talk or a think tank discussion. So really snowballing everything and rolling it up to a higher level of understanding is the goal here.
Okay, awesome. So it sounds like a lot of touch points with our audience and the broader industry. So how can people get engaged, and how do they get value out of this process?
Okay, well, you can attend, as I mentioned, you can attend the coffee talks. If you are an expert in this space, we're still taking experts to feature as part of that discussion, to interview separately during podcasts. About a month or so ago, maybe 2 months ago at this point, we introduced our BIM roadmap, which was our culmination of all of the stuff that we'd been learning about BIM over the last 16, 18 months. So we're going to be doing the same thing in the healthy home space. So as we're listening, we're going to be talking to experts, and we're going to be compiling almost this little mini roadmap of how to think about healthy homes. So if you're an expert, you could also be featured as part of that resource as well. So there are lots of opportunities, and we think there are a lot of cool things going on in the space. So we're very excited to interview people and get their perspectives. So I encourage you to reach out to me on that front if you're interested.
That's great. So you've done a great job of explaining to us the Healthy Home series.
Mm-hmm.
I want to dial it back a little bit. In the beginning of this conversation, you mentioned our view on the future of home delivery. So how are we going to continue to address the bigger picture of this main agenda that we have?
Well, we earlier this year did our first virtual conference in April. And really when we do our conferences, our bigger conferences in the year, we step back and we do our full picture of the future of home delivery. So we get some expert opinions on what they believe is going to happen in that space. We're going to have a keynote speaker from Taurus Development, who's doing some amazing things, Taurus Investment Holdings in Austin, with the Whisper Valley community. And then we're going to pull some other experts in on that front to give the bigger picture. But we've also been interviewing people through podcasts. We've been releasing tools like our BIM roadmap and our offsite construction heat map that highlights who you could partner with to deliver homes through offsite construction. So we're going to continue to release those things on a regular basis and insights from those tools on a regular basis throughout the rest of this year. And we've also launched a podcast series, 2 of them with guest hosts. So we're pulling in other, not just as speakers on our events, but we're also pulling in other people to frame some of our bigger stories as well. So if you're interested in customer experience, you'll also be able to get some insights from what Paul Cardis is seeing. And if you're interested in optimizing home delivery and looking at profitability, Scott Sadam is going to be working with us on that as well. And probably the biggest thing that we've got coming in terms of covering our whole agenda for the rest of the year is that Staycation Event. It's going to be a 2-day event in November. So that's an event that requires registration. So you could participate in that as well in November, and that will kind of pull you to the higher level. One thing that we would love to get out of it from you, and that another value that you get from participating would be we pay strict attention to what happens on that event, and it will also help shape the agenda for some of the things that we dig deeper into next year as well. So that's a good opportunity to get some good information now and influence things in the future.
Wow, that's a great program you put together. With the support of Natalie and Paige and the broader team. I think this is fantastic. So really appreciate you sharing that with us and our audience. And I would say thank you to our audience for taking the time to learn more about what we're up to. If you have any questions or want to contribute to the activities we outlined, please feel free to contact us. And if you're not already a member of our community, you can join on our website or contact me directly at dennis@housinginnovation.org. Thanks again and have a great day.
Yep, see you soon.